to Six Figure Coaches with Luke Charlton, where every week we interview a successful coach and break down their business. We take you behind the scenes in their marketing, advertising, and sales campaigns. We show you what's working. We show you their frameworks, their proven strategies, so you can implement them in your business to grow. Now let's bring on this week's guest. Here is your host, Luke Charlton. Hey, this is Luke Charlton here, and welcome back to this Six Figure Coaches Show. Very excited to have you here on this beautiful Wednesday morning. And I've got an amazing guest coming on today, as I do every single week. I'm really excited to talk about today's guest because he's in a very competitive market, other than the fact that he's very experienced in his area of expertise, which is in real estate coaching. But why I'm excited for today's guest, and we'll dive into it, is because he has a very unique offer. He's in a very crowded marketplace, like a lot of us coaches, right? Working, as I said, in real estate, but most of us coaches are in some type of crowded marketplace, like weight loss or dating or whatever it is. And so what I want to demonstrate with our guest I'm about to bring on is that he has a very unique offer, which makes him stand out and from all of his other competitors. And it's literally just one sentence, which I'll go into in actual bring up in. I'll introduce him first, and then we'll talk about what the offer is. So let me introduce today's guest. Let me just bring up because I want to get his bio right here. So he's a seasoned investor and has been a leader in the real estate industry for over 30 years. He has successfully done over 3,600 deals. And today he leads a team of real estate professionals who continue to close deals across the country. And he basically eliminates every virtual obstacle in the way for someone to get into real estate. And as you'll see from his offer, it's pretty cool. So basically he provides 100% of the capital, right, for the investment deal, and also brings his expertise on how to, get money back from that deal as well. So as I said, removing all of those roadblocks, which again, we'll go more into specifics of his offer in just a second. But I'm very excited to bring on Peter Vekselman. Peter, welcome to the Six Figure Coaches Show.
Appreciate being here, Luke. Thanks for having me.
No worries. And as I mentioned a second ago, we'll dive into your offer in just a second. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna tease the audience. I'm going to read off the offer right now because it's right on your main website. And then I want to talk about your story, like how you got into real estate coaching, and then we'll go back into this offer and your marketing and sales process, how you get clients. Okay. But it's pretty obvious from your offer. I mean, with an offer like this. Anyway, the offer is learn how to make money in real estate in as little as 72 hours without risking your own capital. Okay, so that's the offer. We'll dive into that in just a second. Right, so make money in real estate in less than 72 hours without risking your own capital. Pretty amazing. And as we discussed before we jumped on, started recording, is that no one else in the country does this. Okay, So with that being said, I'll tease the audience. Everyone here listening can see how that's a very strong offer. We'll go into that in just a second. But first, let me ask, how did you get to where you are today? Like, tell us a bit about your story.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, I'm a real estate investor. Been at this business for 23 years. I had a rough start, lost everything I had within 6. I'm sure you've never heard these stories, right? Lost everything I had. Pretty much became homeless 8 months after I got into real estate business because I made a lot of very basic mistakes that so many actually investors or just entrepreneurs go through. It doesn't matter the industry. I trusted the wrong people. I took the wrong advice. I didn't have a blueprint for success. Didn't understand what the steps were. Didn't have anyone to bounce things off of and guide me, coach, and a mentor. So just the basic things like that. Didn't understand the concept of alignment. And that all happened very, very quickly, literally within the first year of jumping into this business. And then I aligned myself, which to this day I always teach people. I don't care if you're in a coaching space or, McDonald's space or any space. That is the key principle to success, alignment. Yeah. Aligned myself with what ultimately became back then, Barton, my first coach and a mentor. Got out of the mess I was in. Took me years. Took me about 2.5 years to get out of the mess I created for myself. And, 23 years later, here I am, still standing, been through some of the highest highs, some of the lowest lows in the real estate business. Yep. But to summarize it, I'm 3,600 deals deep means in those couple decades, I've done 3,600 deals.
Yep.
I got an extremely unique model. I do this all over the nation. I do it, I think, very well now. I do it with the team. And now I'm just loving what I do. I've set up the business in a way that's perfect for my family, for myself, for my kids, my wife. So, I there's no question I focused on the financial side of it, that there's no questioning that. But I did something that so many people that are entrepreneurs, I don't care if they're in a coaching space or what space they're in, I did something that so many people leave behind. And that is, I also focused on the lifestyle part of this business. Because I think a lot of people get so hung up on money, which, by the way, I'm one of them. But they get so hung up on it that they set their businesses up literally incorrectly. And then no matter how much money they make, they never enjoy the lifestyle side of things. So like I said, the best summary I could give you is 20 some years later, I'm still standing, thousands of deals deep, and just loving life, loving everything that I do, loving the team I got around me, the partners I have across the nation, and things are going good.
Great. And actually, I got a question about that, the lifestyle side of things, because I was thinking about this the other day as well. I've just been, I've been waking up quite early in the mornings so in the last, say, 12 to 16 weeks, I've been scaling up my business and hiring like a setter and a closer. And in order to do that, I had to get on a lot more sales calls just to get my sales process refined, basically. So I had to work quite hard over the last 16 weeks. But now it's coming back to a point where I've just changed my calendar as of this week back to what it was before, which is working from 8 in the morning till 12 midday. So about 4 hours per day. So I agree with you in terms of setting I think it's so critical to do that. However, I was thinking, like, if I was to advise coaches who wanted to get to just to whatever it is, it's a simple 10 to 20K a month goal. In the beginning, like, I think back to when I first started, like, if I just worked 4 hours, I don't think like working 4 hours per day when you're kind of just trying to get yourself established. Do you think, my question is, in the beginning, do you think you have to work more hours, or do you think you should still approach your business the same way in the beginning with just like, okay, it's lifestyle, I'm just going to force myself to work just 4 or 5 hours per day, even in the beginning of my business? Does that make sense?
I think that's a very personal question from a perspective, the individual, the industry they're in, what kind of coaching they're doing or what, and what the goals are. So let me give you myself an example. So I just spent 5 minutes talking to you how proud I am of the lifestyle side of it.
Yeah.
What I didn't tell you, Luke, is that I worked my rear end off to this day.
Yeah.
That, you spent a short period of time getting up early and now you're back to 8 o'clock. Well, I know I'm older than you. I could tell. I've been around longer than you. And maybe I've done a little bit more than you. Do you know, to this day, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
But you know what? I can wake up at 8, and my business probably will not suffer a bit.
Yeah.
So why is it that 23 years after being in the same industry, I'm still a 3 a.m. guy? Because for me, that suits my life.
Yeah.
That suits my life. I don't need to do that. Now, if you were to break up your question from a perspective of just simply take me out of it, take you out of it, just look at a beginning of a business and a mature business. Of course, would be idiotic to say, well, yeah, in the beginning you could just kind of kick back and, dial it down and then just coast to ever land of money. That ain't going to happen. I think there's no question you're always going to put time and effort in, majority of it, with a lot more velocity, with a lot more with a lot more time spent in the beginning stages. But that's just the nature of the beast, because there's things we don't have in the beginning that I have now. Like right now, again, just off you said, I have a whole sales floor. So I haven't taken a call for a client in 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's certain things that happen with a mature business that in the beginning you don't have the luxury. So if you aren't willing to pay the price in the beginning, and usually the price is not just the financial price, as you know, it's a price of time.
Right,
if you're not willing to pay that, chances are you'll never be able to scale it to the level where you don't ultimately have to do that. But again, to personalize it, I have a wholesale store. I have I've done 3,600 real estate deals, but guess what? I have a closer who closes all my deals sitting in my office. I have a team of 20 people that do my real estate deals.
Yep.
I don't need to get too involved on that side either, but I do. Why do I do it? And why do I get up at 3? I simply love it. So I think the real answer to your question is, like I said, it is personalized. It is what the goals and it is what objectives is, but also how much do you love doing what you do?
Yeah.
Are you in it because you love it? And if you love it, chances are I can't, people, this is a question that gets asked me all the time. Well, Pete, if you were to sell your business today, your coaching business, your investment business, what would you tomorrow? Oh my God, I don't know. I'd be scared. I'd do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So for me, I am built to work. The cool thing is, the reason I bring up the lifestyle of it is I've set it up in such a way that I don't have to. By the way, it's a very different mentality when you do something from an enjoyment standpoint than just from a simply, I got to make my mortgage payment. So the lifestyle to me is a mental thing. It's a time and place thing.
Yep.
What I mean by that is, I'm sitting right now in, downtown Atlanta effectively, but I could be 40 minutes out of the city and we got a gorgeous place on the water with a boat out there and that. And if I want to go there tomorrow morning with my family and the kids, I could do that. And I could work right from there. So I've set it up in such a way that I could structure my life the way I want to, which is family intensive. Just before I jumped on the call with you, we got back with just having dinner with my wife. On the way home, we stopped at a friend's house. Hey, to me, maybe that's not a big deal to a lot, but to me, that's cool. I just want to be able to do that when I want to, with who I want to, for as ever long as I want to, and know that my business is not going to suffer. But again, to kind of tie the loop to this whole thing, I still work my rear end off, and I don't shy away from that. People say, well, you sit out there and you tell people all this and all that, but then you tell people you work your ass off. I do. I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. But the point is, I don't have to. And that's a big, big, big statement to make that a lot of business owners can't make.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, that's interesting. So I get up at 3 o'clock as well, still, even though like I start my day at 8 now, but I still get up at 3 because I just like getting up early. That works with my lifestyle. And this is there's some context for coaches listening. Like I love what I do, but I was doing sales calls from 3 till 6, so like 3 hours every day for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And what was happening was, it's good because I was getting sales, working on my sales process, but I began to get burnt out. Like waking up I was actually waking up at 2:30, so waking up at 2:30, going straight into sales calls from 3 till 6. And even though I love what I do, mentally I was starting to get burnt out, whereas like I started to not like the actual process. So that also can come into play. Like what I've figured is like I work best even from like 6 a.m. I can work from 6 a.m., but that's when my kids wake up. So that's why I start at 8. Anyway, the point is, like, I love your message. Is like either way, you set up your day however you want, because your business gives you that flexibility, not the other way where your business is driving your calendar, if that makes sense. I think that's the message here overall.
And by the way, I did what you do, or what you did a little bit ago. For the first years, years in the business, I took all the calls myself, both from signing people up perspective to delivering coaching perspective. Interestingly enough, you know what I learned during those years? I hate to say it, I hate coaching. I didn't like it. Now, I'm a coach. Coach thousands of people. So what did I do? I set my business in such a way that I don't have to do the one-on-one coaching, but because my coaching happens to be in the real estate space, guess what I love doing? I love doing deals. So I set my model up in such a way that I can have just as great, if not greater, impact on my clients, not from a coaching regurgitating the same thing over. You know what the problem with a lot of coaching is? You're just saying the same thing over and over, just a different name. That, to me, that's just not a cool thing. But what I love is I love doing real estate deals.
Yeah.
And so I incorporated my coaching from a perspective that I have several full-time coaches that coach from a learning perspective.
Yep.
When it comes to deal time, I jump in. Why?
Yeah.
Because that's the moneymaker for everybody. And
Yep.
it's because I love doing it. And again,
Yeah.
it goes back to what I said before. Look, it goes back. You got to learn. From a coach's perspective, you have to really, really understand how do you ultimately want to set up your coaching business? Because
Yeah.
you know as well as I do, a coaching business set up incorrectly very quickly becomes nothing more than either a high or a low paying job.
Right.
Very
Yeah.
quickly. And if you don't set it up from a scaling perspective, if you don't set it up from a understanding how to market
Yeah.
perspective, how to generate leads, how to
Yep.
deliver, how to do that. So you really, really, really have to know how to set it up the right way. But if you do set it up the right way, I think coaching is an incredible. It's got me to where I am today.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, that's a really good point, and something that I talk about on my other podcast is you want to set it up in a way where you're almost kind of like what you've done. You outsource all the parts of your process, your system, whatever that is. You outsource as much of that as possible. The stuff that you don't like to do, and then the stuff that you love to do and you're really good at, that's the that you do. So I'll give you an example for me. So I have an agency where we book appointments for coaches, right? So we run ads for them and we set up the appointment system and book them the appointments. But what I have my team do is all the stuff that I don't want to do, just because I don't want to do it. So what they do is they do all the tech stuff. They set up the ads and they kind of manage the ads. They will do all the research for me on my clients and my clients' competitors, like the creative brief. So they do all of that stuff. And then the stuff that I'm really good at, which is creating the message that converts, all of that work is done for me. So I just sit down and read the creative brief. I even have a copywriter that does the initial ads just as like something to start with. Because if I have something to work with, I can move a lot faster. And so I read the whole creative brief, all the research, all of the ads the copywriter's done, and then I can just tweak it from there. And then I can move on to the next client. So that's it might be like a 30-minute process for me. Whereas before, if I was doing all that for one client, I don't even be able to bring on one client like a month. But now I can bring on probably like 10 a week, if I wanted to get up that high, because I've outsourced all the stuff that I could do, don't need to do. I've just created my business around my genius zone, if that makes sense. The stuff that I really like to do and I'm really good at. So I think that's a really great message there. And
the other piece that you're doing there that's very smart which is what a lot of small-time coaches never get past, is you're scaling it.
Right.
Outsourcing is another word for scaling. Now, we also both know outsourcing could be a total disaster. I'm sure we both had some really bad situations when it's come to that. But what outsourcing really ultimately is, it's the ability to scale. And then again, it goes back to what we said, two things. One, you do what you're good at, what you like, what you can keep going and not have to, pull yourself out of bed for. And two, it begins to show you the possibility of creating an incredible lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, when you really, really get to the point where you can control your lifestyle, not just see it, not just talk about it, but truly, truly control it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, you'll fight tooth and nail to never, ever, ever let it go again.
That's a big reason why I got off those calls in the early morning.
No question. You see it.
Yeah.
You see it. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, cool. Now, okay, let's go into your offer, because I love your offer. And this is, I did a whole series of creating, I call it the one sentence offer. It's literally, your offer is, for me, at the end of the day, your offer is what's the result that you're promising, right? And does it have a guarantee or whatever, but what's that main result that you're promising? That's the offer. And then obviously the deliverables come after that. Like, here's the system and here's the coaching that you get, whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. But your offer really demonstrates the power of spending time on just that one sentence, because if you can get it right, it can differentiate you from all of your other competitors. So I'm going to read it off again here, and we'll talk about how you actually came up with this. So here it is. Learn how to make money in real estate in as little as 72 hours without risking your own capital. Just looking at that as it's like what they want. It's like push button money, no risk, is literally what you're saying there. And so that's what, when you're thinking about an offer for the coaches listening in, you want to frame it in a way where they do the least amount of work and the least risk. Like that's like the ultimate, like push this button and you lose weight. That's like what they ultimately want. So how close can you get your program to that? And I think yours is pretty close. So I want to talk to you about how you actually, like, how does that even work? I guess explain like how the offer works, and then we can talk about how you actually came up with it, because it's quite creative what you've done there.
Yeah, well, remember, the ultimate coaching business is not just one that has a great tagline and a great marketing schematic, but one that can deliver upon it. And that's really the key to becoming a really big, successful, having a coaching operation. But that's what I think we've done in here and what I do. But the offer to blow it out, what you just said from that tagline, is very simple. Yep. I basically, here's the problem with the overall coaching industry. This is like, for the coaches listening in, let me tell you something. This is what you're trying to solve without people telling you. But the problem with the coaching industry, it's very simple. In the end, we have very small success rates. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone argues. But the bottom line is this: overall coaching businesses have very small success rate for their clients. Now, how do we as coaches handle that? We've fallen into the trap. I don't know if it's a trap, but we fall into the mode of, it's the client's fault. Told them what to do, teach them everything I know, provide them all the materials. So somewhere along the line, the success rate gotten to be so awful, and this is across the coaching industry, so awful for our clients that we've just basically said, I ain't going to fight it anymore. I'm just going to take the blame off of me, and it's the client's fault. I'm worth everything I'm saying in all this. But that is a reality. Now, why is it? Now, then you start thinking about that. Why is that a reality? Why is it that an average person, I don't care if they're getting a health coach, a psych coach, a real estate coach, whatever coach they get, why is it that the success rate across the board is so dismal? Well, it's simple. For an individual to really achieve something in whatever level they want and whatever industry they want, it's not just knowledge-based. It's not just knowledge-based. You can't think your way, or you can't smart your way to success. Knowledge is one important aspect of it, but there's so many other aspects. And the reality is the other aspects aren't knowledge-based, they're implementation-based. Meaning, like, let's take real estate, because that's my world, but this could be applied to anything. In real estate, I could teach you everything I know about real estate. And your chances of being successful in real estate, you know, if you're at 0 now, okay, maybe you'll go to 5 or 10%. Well, why in the heck is that? Well, because I'm going to teach everything I know, logically, but then you're going to have to go and you have to implement this thing. So, for instance, you're going to have to find some kind of a marketing schematic. Well, how do you even know what kind of marketing schematic to follow and to do, when it works, what doesn't? You're going to have to learn how to negotiate. How in the world, you know, if you're coming from the industry that has never negotiated, how in the world you're going to, in real estate, you have to learn how to raise capital. Well, that's a foreign thing. You have to learn how to clear titles. Who in the world knows how to clear titles? You have to learn how to use technology. Unless you're from a technology-based industry, most people don't know how to use tech. So there's about 20 other things other than knowing what to do. You could conceptually know how to do all of those things, but that does not make you good at doing any of those things. So to go back to your question, the uniqueness of my offer. The uniqueness of my offer is this. I bought into this whole premise that very few people become successful after spending a whole heck of a lot of money on coaches. And I started thinking it through to a level, at a higher level, but basically what I just explained to you. What was the problem? That was the problem. There was 20 other pieces that somebody needed to know other than just knowledge. And so I did something that no one, as far as I know, definitely no one in the real estate industry does this. And I challenge everybody all the time. I say, well, any other industry who does this? But here's what I do. When people hire us to coach them, I'll do the one thing that, like I said, I don't know that anyone else does in any industry. I then back them financially.
Yep.
into their success. Now, in real estate, backing someone financially means I give them money to do deals. In
Yep.
other industry, that could be something else. But as I am the only guy out there that'll say, okay, you hire me to coach you, and I'm going to put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
I'm going to back you financially, which means our relationship will only begin at the coaching end.
Yeah.
And I also understand in real estate, it's not just about just knowledge base. It's about those 10 other things that we just talked about.
Yeah.
But since I'm giving you money, watch this. This is how unique this offer is. Since I'm giving you money, Luke, and it's my money, and I sure as heck, as bad as you want to lose it because you don't know what the heck you're doing in real estate, and as bad as you're going to try, I'm going to prevent you from losing it. So what am I going to do? All those other things other than knowledge, I can give you knowledge, but it's those other things that are going to fail you. I'm going to also provide for you. So for instance, when we have to find a deal in the city you live in, whatever city that is, I'm going to I know what marketing works. I know how to find deals. And so I'm going to deploy resources right in your market, the right resources, and we're going to find a deal. Why? Because we're using my money, so it better be the right deal. You're going to need technology. And Luke, you may not know anything about technology as it relates to real estate. I do. And because I'm going to give you money to do this deal, I'm going to give you the best and the latest and the greatest because I got to make sure you know how to make decisions. We're going to need a back office. Who needs a back office in real estate? Guess what? Everybody. Nobody thinks about it. And because I'm giving you money, Luke, to back you, my back office will actually become your back office. You see what I mean?
Yep.
So the uniqueness of my offer is this. I generate success. And I do that because I take it beyond coaching. I take it into the implementation stage. And I don't take it from implementation, just kind of walking you through it, because that's still just knowledge and who knows.
Yep.
I put my money into the whole thing. And because I put my money into it, I got to make sure you don't lose my money. So I'm going to dump a bunch of other resources in there, including my team, my people, and all this. And that, to a certain degree, as much as possible, guarantees that we're going to be successful.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to tie the bow this way. Here's what else I'm going to promise you. If something goes wrong in the middle of this thing, and guess what? After 20 years, things still go wrong, I'll absorb the loss. So what you said 10 minutes ago when you're introducing the offer, Pete, this sounds like the perfect offer. And, you take all that I do. I provide you 50% of the, because as somebody that I back, you're going to keep 50% of the profit and I'm going to keep 50% of the profit.
Yeah.
Which means you have no money into it, deals. You get 50% of the profit. That's called an infinite return. But at the same time, if something ever goes wrong, I'm going to absorb all the losses. Okay. So I make one of the most difficult businesses out there when it comes to coaching, real estate. As bad as the success rate is in other industries with coaches, guess what? In real estate, I think it's like less than 3% of people ever really make money. And this is after getting coaching. I mean, that's like you wouldn't even would you go to a hospital that's got a 3% success rate?
Yeah.
You're going to walk in any grocery store that's got that kind of success? Heck no. But in real estate, that's what it is. And I'm going to flip that upside down by saying one thing. I'm going to back you financially. And because I'm going to back you financially, I'm going to provide you all those other things that other coaches from a knowledge perspective can't do. Yeah. And so that's what makes my offer so unique.
Okay. So when you say back financially, does that mean they're still putting in money that then you back up if things go wrong? Or because they
put zero. They don't put a penny in. I put 100%.
Why do you even need people then? Why wouldn't you just do your own deals?
Because real estate is a local business. And I need those boots on the ground. That's really why. And so you're right. It's like we do from my side 100% of that work. We don't. We do about 90% of the work. But that 10% of the work that they do, those boots on the ground, that's a very, very important piece.
Yeah, the research, like my research for my clients when I'm doing their ads. So basically research for you.
We call them boots on the ground in real estate. It's running around, doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, in essence, what you call research in your world.
And how many? Okay, that's where their investment, like that's their investment is their time and energy, basically.
Good way to look at it.
Yep. And just curious, like how many hours per week are they working for you? Or
Well, number one, nobody works for me.
Or for themselves, I should say. I mean, for their
Well,
deal.
and then you answer your own question. It's how much money do they want to make?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
You know,
Okay.
how much money do you want to make in your personal business? You know, it's in the beginning, especially, it's correlation between how much time you put in.
Okay.
But you know, about 2 to 4 to 5 hours a week is kind of traditionally what we'd like them to put in the beginning.
Yeah, that's great.
Realistic.
Again, what I like about your offer is it's creative, and this is what I tell coaches is like, you want to get as close to that push button thing, and like, how can you come up with an offer that gets them as close to that result with the least amount of work, least amount of effort, least amount of risk.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, people look at that and say, well, that's kind of gimmicky. Really? You want to do it with the most amount of risk, with the most amount of effort, with the hardest part, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Heck, I'm all about making quicker money. You know what I mean? And that's what we do. We provide the shortcuts.
What I do sometimes, like if I'm talking, like I've got my offer for my agency, the done for you offer. Sometimes if it's the right coach that has been in business for a while, they've got a high ticket offer, say 20K or more or higher. Sometimes we do like a rev share offer, right? Where they don't actually invest anything, right? So I'm actually taking more risk than them because I have to pay my employees. They probably are the same actually, because they still pay for the ads. So I have to pay my employees to do all the research and everything and set up the ads, and I invest my time, and they just pay for the ads. So we do it all for them basically, and then they just pay for the ads. And for the right, for the right coach, we've done that deal. I actually did that deal like last week actually for a new client. And so the point is like that, like I don't actually advertise that offer like, hey, can I, like I'll get you clients for free or something like that. Something like that. I could make the ad like that, the promise like that. But the point is, if I wanted to, like that would be a creative way for me to come up with an offer like that. And my overall point is, we can get more creative with our offers than what we currently are putting out into the marketplace. And when you are creative, like exactly what you've done, and it does take some thinking, right? It does take some thinking, like what are my competitors doing, and like what is like what you've looked at is the market, right? You go, okay, this is the market. This is where things are failing and what the market is really frustrated with. Like they invest a lot of money, they rarely get results. So how can I solve that problem? How could I make a better problem where they have their chance of success is like 90 or 95% versus 5% or whatever it is. Right. And that thinking has led you to this really great offer, which now no one, as I said, no one in the country does. And you stand out. And I'm sure leading with that offer, you must get inundated with people wanting to work with you. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, we get about 6,000 inquiries a month.
Yeah, like that's again power of an offer. One sentence. That's all it is. Now, yeah, such a powerful lesson. Now, my question to you is, how do you like generate your leads? Do you run advertising, or what's your lead gen process?
Yeah, I mean, I got a whole marketing team. I think our number one lead source right now is Facebook, paid Facebook ads.
Yep.
I got a pretty huge social media following. So that is actually our most quality lead, not quantity, but quality lead is people that follow me on social media because, they feel like they get to know me. So Facebook marketing, social media, a ton of email marketing. We send out, I think my team said over 100,000 emails a day. So, a lot of that. I think those are our three biggest sources, and I have a whole sales floor that takes the leads and stuff like that.
And they just basically go like add straight to an appointment, do you?
Yes. Yeah, that's an opportunity to do that, but there's also a lot of warming up that even takes place in that time frame. Even though it's a short time frame, we're big into cultivating and warming up and really qualifying our leads by the time they get to our sales floor.
Oh, okay. So can you just walk me through? That's interesting. So one of the things that I do, in the beginning when I'm testing the message, I keep the funnel, for lack of a better word. I wouldn't really a funnel. It's literally like ad, and then it goes straight to an appointment, right? So they book the appointment. Then after they book, then generally we'll send them like some we could just call it homework, but it's like a 10 to 15 minute video to, again, reintroduce the coach, who they are, some case studies, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's the whole process. And then they go on to the sales call, which again, you're still building the relationship. And sometimes there's like a two-step close, like a 15-minute, then a longer call.
Mm-hmm.
to build a relationship that works for some markets. Anyway, that's the process to book the appointment though. Add appointment and then a bit of homework afterwards. Now, what you're just so I'm clear and so the coaches are clear that are listening. I'm always interested in like how you book quality appointments. Are you saying that you send them to content first and then get them to book, or do you get them to book and then you send them content, just like I mapped out then?
Both. But even in the case scenario where they see an ad and they get sent to an appointment, before they actually have that appointment, even if it's 10 minutes from the time they saw the ad, they go through qualifying process, which is in our world basically a series of questions.
Okay.
And they have the ability to qualify themselves out based upon how they answer those questions. So even if it's C ad, okay, I'm ready to talk to somebody. And even if that's 20-minute process from the time that happens, we still put them through get them as much information as we can in those 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So they don't go in blind like, hey, this kind of sort of looked good, but I have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So get them as much information as possible in the time frame that makes sense, and do qualify them no matter what.
Okay. Yeah. I think so just for some context, Peter, like most of the coaches listening in, I think because you've got a sales floor, right? You can speak to a lead very quickly after they're booked in, right? You've probably got some availability there to get to that lead very quickly.
That's right.
Most coaches listening, there's going to be like a day often between when they book and when the actual call is, right? So we have that time to send them homework. For me, it can be same day, like for my salespeople. Often it is the next day. So we have that extra time. So I'd understand for you, just some context on coaches, like when you have a sales team, sales floor like you do, you can get to the lead very, very quickly. So in that case, yes, you probably want to be careful about getting on the phone too quickly with them and make sure that they're qualified and they know a little bit about you. Because people, as you know, people will just jump on the phone and they'll see an ad and they won't actually really read it. And they'll go, oh, this is a good idea. And they go on the phone and like, wait, why am I? They literally go like, wait, I don't even know what the call was for. Like, I don't know if you've had that before. I've had that many times. Like, why am I forgot what ad I saw and who you were. Like, can you remind me? I've had that like many times with paid advertising, right? So yeah, with such a short sales process for you at appointment, you would want to add that extra qualification step in between before they jump on the call with you. Just some context there.
Yeah. So one, I don't just believe this. I know this to be a fact. The quicker you get to the lead, the better of a chance you have a closing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not my philosophy. That's a proven fact.
It's a Harvard study. Harvard did a study on that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. But the other side of the equation is also true, which you said. You do want to qualify to a certain level. So how do you get the best of both worlds? Through technology and having a team around you, what we talked about, a leveraging component. You know what I mean? You know, when I have a whole team of a whole sales floors behind me, it gives me the ability to do that. Get to the lead quickly, but also do some qualifying from the time. Because the other thing you don't want to do, like when it's just you, I get it.
Yeah.
But you don't want to have a sales floor and you give them a bunch of crap either. You know what I mean? Because then you're going to get into the mode of hiring and rehiring and training and retraining and discouragement and stress, and you're going to start doubting your own offer and all this kind of stuff. So you got to be thinking about that floor also. And obviously they want the best quality lead, and rightfully they should.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the equation, you owe them the best possible quality lead you can get.
Yeah. I mean, that's always the argument with the sales team, isn't it? Like you're not closing well enough, and they're like, no, we're not getting good enough leads.
That never ends. And to a degree, you're both right.
Yeah.
To a degree, you're both right. Because the other side of the equation is this: too good of leads could also handicap that sales floor. So then all of a sudden you do a promotion with a third party and they generate, 500 leads for you, and you're celebrating that, but their caliber is not where yours is. All of a sudden, your team is like, well, this is a disaster. So you're always, playing that game of fine-tunement and, hiring the right people, training the right people, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. Actually, I want to get back to what you said. about the speed to lead thing. So just so you're so I have a setter, right? So I've got a setter and a closer and people that call the leads that come through. And yeah, I absolutely have seen this since I hired a setter, or since we started like calling our leads, outbound stuff. The sooner you can get to that lead, as we just said, the more chance you have of closing, and they've done studies on that. Mm-hmm. And I'd love for you to speak to I mean, I know the reason why that is, but I'd love for you just for the coach listening, on the importance of doing outbound and getting to the lead as quickly as possible. Like, why is it that a lead is more likely to close just after they've opted in or just after they've booked an appointment versus if they wait a day or even longer?
Sure. Well, a couple of reasons. One, you remember what you did 2 minutes better than what you did 2 weeks ago. So their engagement is a lot better and a lot stronger when you can get a hold of that person in the first initial couple of minutes. Number two, if they're out there, let's say you're getting your leads from the internet, you really think they're just going to one page and just putting their information in and just banking everything? I mean, they're going to other pages. So it gives you the ability to kind of put yourself in the front of the line. The other big one is you isolate your competition, because once I'm engaging you and you like me and my competitor calls because you opted into them, but they called you 2 days later, you're like, hey, I'm talking to Pete. I like Pete.
Exactly.
I'm feeling good about this whole situation with Pete. So I get rid of all of my competition. So it's for, and so really the big one, it's not even just the familiarity, it's the interest level. Yep. Whatever I'm doing this, if I'm on the internet right now searching something, my interest level is the highest at this point about whatever the heck I'm searching for. Matter of fact, 3 days later, I may no longer even be interested. I might not be like thinking, I might have at that point just thought myself out of it. Like, why do I need that? So any way you slice it, it's not for all the reasons to do it. Give me one legitimate reason why you shouldn't do it.
Exactly.
There's just no reason not to do it. And anyone in the coaching space who treats their leads, I'll get to them twice a week. I sit down every Wednesday and Friday at 3:00 and I call my leads. Man, I'll tell you what, you better hire that caller as quickly as possible, because you're leaving a ton of money on the table.
Well, the most of my coaches that are listening, they wouldn't be calling their leads. I mean, I didn't book for many years. I just did all inbound stuff. And stupidly, because I was losing millions of dollars of revenue. And so, I agree with you. I love that, especially that last point. Eliminating competition, very true. Also for coaches that get no-shows, right? So no-shows are a big thing from paid advertising, right? That's why I tell coaches, don't let people book out too far in advance, because the further out, the more highly likely they are to no-show. So once someone books in your calendar, if you've got, especially if it's like a 15-minute chat, like the hours type call, give them a call, like right away. So I had 10 minutes right now. I thought I'd just do the chat. Do you have 10 minutes to chat right now? We do the call right now. So get them right now. I love the last point though on the way I'll word it is like their emotional state, right? Their emotional state when they opt in for whatever it is that you're helping them with, like getting more dates or losing weight.
That's right.
Like they're thinking about that problem right then and there. Okay, so they're obviously something is triggered within them to go to respond to this ad. So they're in that emotional state, and you have to understand, as soon as they opt in, that emotional state starts to decrease the further the time goes along, right? And so
quickly, by the way,
very, very quickly, especially with something like weight loss is a very mortgage brokers, like they have to get to their leads within like 10 minutes.
Speed to lead.
Yeah, speed to lead. But because of that emotional state, because we buy, as everyone's heard before, the sales always mostly emotional. The last part, very small percentage, is logical. So if you can get to them as soon as they are to that emotional state, you have a higher chance of closing them. So the importance of outbound is, it's funny, like not many coaches do it, but the very, very top coaches do it. And you don't need to hire anyone. Like if you're a solo coach and you've got time, which most solo coaches do because they're trying to get clients.
That's right.
Pick up the phone, start calling, and then you can eventually hire someone.
You got it.
Okay, so my final question, Peter, this has been an awesome interview. so much value. And this, I ask this of all of our coaches that come on. You're standing at the top of a mountain and there's thousands of coaches below you, and you can only shout one question to them to become successful. You can only shout one message to them to become successful. What is that one message?
It's something you already mentioned, but this is how I run my life and how I run my business and what's got me there. Whatever space you're in, figure out how to do something unique that nobody else does. Because when you could do that, you get out of the competition world of I got to be the best. And that's a tough world to compete in, of being the best. Means you better be the best marketer. You better have the best budget. You better really be the best, the best, the best. I don't want to do that. But when you're unique in your offer, you create your own playing field.
Yeah.
And when you create your own playing field, you literally have no competition. So figure out something. I don't care who you are, what you do. There's always that niche that you could figure out that you'd be the only one doing it.
Yeah.
And then you just pound the crap out of it.
Yep. Absolutely. Love that. All right. Thanks, Pete, for coming on. Now, where can the coaches who are listening go to learn more about what it is that you do in your amazing offer?
Probably if somebody wants to get to know me, learn about what I do, my philosophies, just go to my social media, go like to Instagram.com/my name, Peter Vekselman. And, you will, once you follow me for a little while, you'll learn a lot, you gain a lot, and you'll understand if we're potentially even a good fit potentially to work together. So Instagram.com/Peter Vekselman.
Thanks, Peter. And actually, I've got one question. You just for US-based people?
US-based deals, meaning if somebody, let's say, is somewhere else, as long as they have some kind of presence in the US, some kind of boots on the ground or something, we could do some stuff with them.
Okay, cool. All right. Thanks, Peter, once again for coming on.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks. Go to Peter's Instagram. Actually, I'm going to do it after this chat. I'm going to go follow Peter. Go to his Instagram. And thanks again for tuning in. Remember, we premiere each week inside the Hermit Hole as well. So go to thehermithole.com. To get access to these episodes before they go on to iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher. So with that being said, thanks again, Peter. I'll see you guys in the next episode. See you.